What's up, y'all? Welcome back to episode 2 of the Playground Pod. We got some amazing stuff we're talking about today. We got Diablo, new things coming to Twitch, and some big news with Microsoft. But before we get to that, let me introduce you to the team. We got Nuki. Nuki, how we doing today? How you feeling?
I'm doing great, bro. Thanks for asking.
Love to see it. Juicy, how we doing, Juicy? You work like 95 jobs, so I think we actually had to kidnap you just to get you to do an episode of this podcast.
It's actually been great. I mean, I got off work early today. I went and had a nice dinner. Now I'm here to do the podcast. I'm actually like totally looking forward to this.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about what we're talking about tonight. So
Nice. So I think we're gonna start off with some Diablo because we got the new season coming out next week, and we got a lot of stuff here. We got a lot of things happening. Honestly, I want to start with like the quality of life stuff because I think they added a lot of really cool shit. Wait, can I swear at this point? Right, I can swear now, right?
I think we can swear now, yeah.
I think
it's the first 30 seconds, right?
I marked it explicit.
So with season 1 of Diablo, we got a lot of new stuff coming, and a lot of things that I'm really excited for are actually the quality of life changes they're adding to the game. So all your gems, instead of taking up an inventory slot, are now actually going to be its own separate area in the backpack. So it's not going to take up that extra space. And one of the big issues and concerns I had going into the season is going to be what's going to carry over. So Diablo last week did a like an AMA roundtable with some of the devs. And they said that we're getting Lilith statues are staying. So any Lilith statues you find, that will always be on your character, as well as any areas you do. So I think that's the two big things. Definitely as the season ends, you want to make sure you have those done so you're prepared for the next season. Now, I know for a lot of people who are new to Diablo, myself included, the seasonal character thing is kind of weird. So let me explain a little bit about that. So the seasonal characters, every season, to get in the seasonal realm with the new seasonal content, you're going to have to make a new seasonal character. And it's kind of annoying for sure, especially in like other like MMOs and other RPGs where you're not used to doing that. But it's definitely something that's been in Diablo like for years. So like for me, I'm cautiously optimistic, just trying to see how they go with that, because I think it could be really good or it could be absolutely atrocious. And I think Diablo has done like a really good part so far. I think like Nuki, you can probably speak on this as well. I think Diablo has done a really nice job of actually updating their game and not letting it be a giant piece of shit.
Yeah, I agree. I think so far, especially looking at Diablo 4 compared to the Diablo 3 and 2 life cycles, we've seen a ton of updates in comparison that have really helped kind of balance the game and also improve that initial gameplay launch.
Yeah, for sure. So with season 1, it's called Season of the Malignant. And Malignant's going to be something you're going to see a ton of. So there's going to be new enemies that are going to be called corrupted enemies. And when you defeat those corrupted enemies, they're going to drop malignant hearts. And there's like different shades of the malignant hearts that'll give you different buffs for different things. And then you're going to be able to put those on your different pieces of gear. As far as from what I'm aware, it's only going to be armor and jewelry. So you won't be able to put it on weapons. But it looks like your builds are going to be really based upon those like malignant hearts and what you're putting them into. There's also going to be new areas called malignant tunnels, which I think are just going to be like a level up in dungeons kind of thing, like similar to a dungeon, but a little different. And the malignant tunnels at the end, you're going to have one of the corrupted enemies. So that's going to be the big way how you find that. And it looks like the new world boss too. I'm actually just seeing this for the first time. I didn't know this was a thing. So is this Varshan guy? Is he the new? Is he a world boss?
It does look like that's the case from what I see.
Okay. And so the new world boss this season is going to be Varshan the Consumed, and I'm actually kind of curious how he's going to work. Is he going to be more like a Shava or some of the other world bosses we saw in the I guess season 0?
the preseason.
Yeah, I think Diablo's done a really good job with the world boss system in terms of getting something that's very, very aggressive and on the table and really requiring people to group up together.
Yeah, I really liked it. And this is the next thing I want to talk about is the battle pass, because I'm a big fan of battle passes. I think battle passes are great. Do y'all like that, or do you want the DLC instead?
I think the gaming industry has kind of like progressed away from DLCs. So like obviously when we were like younger gamers, like you would get a game like Modern Warfare 2, they'd have a DLC package, right? And that was like the entirety of the game. And you would pay the extra $10, you get your DLC package, you get all your weapons, you get all your extra stories. Now it's like you get everything at one point in time, and it gives you a mode to progress throughout like your gameplay, and you have these rewards that you strive to get. So it makes it more integral for you as a player and like someone to progress through all these things. It makes it better for you and kind of gives you like an achievable goal. Whereas with the DLC, you pay one flat price, you beat it, and then you're left stagnant for X amount of time, until the next DLC drops, which is never, it could be never, or it could be, 6 or 7 months from now. And now you're sitting here playing the same game over and over and over again, where the Battle Pass offers so much more. So I like it personally.
Yeah, so I think as well, from my perspective, I was a huge fan of the DLC system, which, I mean, people already hate me for saying that I liked DLC.
Yeah, you should be hated. You should be scolded eternally.
But with Black Ops, like with Black Ops 1, for example, I just went and repurchased all the DLCs, unfortunately at full price. And
And that is my fucking
it's
issue
Black
with
Ops. It's
DLCs.
Black Ops. So like,
That is my issue with DLCs.
it's Black Ops 1, and that is my issue with DLCs too, because it's been, what has it been, over a decade since Black Ops 1 came out, probably. And unfortunately, I still not only paid the game at full price, but I paid for all the DLCs at full price.
It's like $120, right? 120, 150
Yeah.
bucks.
So I mean, I just bought the package that included the game and all the DLCs. So that was a nice thing to kind of go back and not have to pay for extra content beyond that. But that's basically the same cost as buying a season pass.
Right.
Looking at that $10 every 3-month period, I actually probably am saving money on season passes.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, like, you buy a base game, it's these days it's $70, right?
Yeah, for half a game.
For half a game, right? So like, and then sorry, hey man, they're an indie company. You got to give them a little bit of
Activision Blizzard, for everyone in the podcast, okay, they're a really indie company who's doing their best. They're really struggling for money. They definitely did make $1 billion on a game, and then also make like, I don't know, another $1 billion every season off of skins that no one wants.
Right. So it's like, you got to think about, like, instead of paying this $150 up front for a base game and then 6 or 7 DLCs, you're going to pay the same price over time. And the way the battle passes are set up nowadays is a lot of times you get points, like credits, in-game credits throughout the battle pass that you can put towards the next battle pass.
Yeah.
If you really want to go that route. So technically you pay a flat $10 or like a flat $12, however much it is in your country, like currency wise. If you play for the whole thing, you don't spend any currency at all, your next battle pass is free. So that's the way it works now.
And that's honestly something I really like about battle passes, is it always seems like no matter what the game is, if you buy like the basic battle pass, you work your way through the whole battle pass in that season, you always have enough credits to buy the next one without having to put more money in.
Yeah,
and like
absolutely,
so, like,
absolutely.
If there's like a season of Diablo, right? Let's say like season 4 comes in like a year or whatever, and I don't want to play Diablo season 4. I'm just not into the season. That's fine. I don't have to play that season. I can just skip the season, and I don't have to pay the DLC. It doesn't affect me if I want to go back and play it later, because that content will already be in the game. And that's my main grief with like DLCs versus battle passes. And plus, like, a lot of seasons now in like Call of Duty, Fortnite, even Apex, like, their seasons are not worth paying $15 for in a DLC.
Yeah, like, I do like entering that at either the free or $10 level.
Yeah.
Obviously, since we all do content, a lot of us tend to spend the $20 and get the jump pass, basically.
Yeah.
Or the $30 blackout bundle
Black
in
Cell,
Call of Duty.
Cell, yeah.
Or Black Cell, yeah. Which, just to continue to point to like seasonal events, is like the big jump in with the boys coming this week in Call of Duty as well, which is a huge task to add in, which would be a very expensive DLC.
Yeah.
Looking back into like the Black Ops era.
Yeah, I think skins are fine, but I don't consider a skin content. Like, I don't think, like, you can't be like, we gave you all these new skins. What do you mean you're bored? Like, no one gives a shit about your skin.
I personally think it depends on the game for the skin. Because, like, for example, like, obviously, you guys play a lot of Call of Duty. Like, that's your guys' game. And I've swapped over to Apex recently. And Apex, like, the skins are what show, like, how much you put into the game.
Yeah.
Like, whereas Like with Call of Duty, you can go on the store, you can buy whatever skin. Like for example, like Call of Duty, like Modern Warfare 2, they had the nuke skin for the longest time. If you completed the nuke challenge, you got the nuke skin, and then all of a sudden the same skin started showing up on the store that you could just buy.
Yeah.
Right. Where with like Apex Legends, like if you complete the battle pass, there's skins within the battle pass that you can't buy on the store, and there's skins that you can buy on the store that you can't get anywhere else. Or like, you hit a certain milestone with the legend that you're playing, you can't get that skin anywhere else in a battle pass in the store anywhere. You have to complete that achievement.
Yeah.
And so like for some games, like skins actually mean something,
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it just depends on the game. But I think a lot of times, like, especially like just focusing on Call of Duty for a second, Call of Duty will always put out skins and they'll tweet about how great these skins are. And then like, they'll be
garbage.
really dumb skins. Yeah, it'll be like a sniper who like smokes pot and is just like, in like a pot bush. And I'm like, we get it. We're trying to appeal to 25-year-olds who live in their mom's basement. Calm down. It's fine.
Why are you attacking me like that?
or the best one was, what was it? The ghillie suit with like the antlers.
Oh my god, the deer
like that.
skin.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like in a realistic world, you'd never see a fucking sniper out there
Yeah.
with a ghillie suit and fucking antlers on. Like that would never happen. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not realistic at all.
Which, by the way, that is a direct copy of one of the bosses in Death Garden Blood Harvest.
Right. So like just copying and pasting. Or like let's talk about the Kevin Durant skin for a second.
That's my favorite skin in any video game ever, and I will not.
Call of Duty drops
him slandered.
They drop a Kevin Durant skin, right? They advertise this huge thing. I don't think in all the matches of Warzone or ranked I played did I ever once see the Kevin Durant skin.
Yo, who's the Spartan guy in Call of Duty now? I see him in my game, but I can't buy him in the store. What happened to that guy, Nuki?
What are you talking about? A Spartan guy?
I don't know. It's like some Spartan guy with like he's like sleeveless Spartan guy. Like I don't know. He has like MEAM or something on his arm. I don't know what it is. I don't know where to find this guy. If anyone in the comments can let us know how I can get this, I would love to get it. It would make me
I think
so
he's
happy.
related to the guy named Dick Burks.
Oh my god.
Oh wait, my bad. Nick Merckx. My bad.
Yo, we're gonna get so much shit on the comments for that. We're gonna have the fucking 100 people who are just like, go fuck off.
Go fuck yourself, dude. Hey, Dick Burks. That's good though.
All right, I'm gonna drag us back to Destiny, kicking and screaming, or Diablo. Oh my god! But we should also talk about Destiny because it's the.
We should talk about Destiny at some point in one of these.
Force Nuki to play
podcasts.
Destiny. I think that's the way to do it.
Just uninstalled it.
I know you did, and it fucking angers the shit out of me that you did it. But anyway, getting back to Diablo, the other thing they're adding is there's going to be seasonal challenges, which I'm actually really excited about because that's going to be a great way to progress through your battle pass, and you get XP. In addition to that, there's actual for like chapter rewards. Sometimes you get currency. There's like the caches of resources, and there's also going to be aspects you can get. So I'm really excited to see like what new aspects get added to the game to really make like just some absolutely insane builds.
Yeah, no, I'm actually I've also been looking forward to that. Just like reading off like the quick skim, the new seasonal characters and like aspects are going to be absolutely fantastic, especially because of the fact that like everyone did their build and now they have to go back through the dungeons and get their aspects all over again. Like it's gonna be kind of awesome what they're going to do with the new like quality of life changes and the new builds and like all that kind of stuff that they can do. So
yeah, I'm excited. They're also adding seasonal blessings, which so you'll get this smoldering ashes, and I believe that is out of the battle pass, and you can use those smoldering ashes to unlock different urns, and like different urns will give you different things. So there's one that like boosts your duration of all your elixirs, one that gives you more XP, one that gives you more gold when you sell items. So I'm really excited to see where they go with that. And just to see like what ridiculous builds get built in like the first like 20 minutes of the season that everyone complains about for 2 months. I think that's gonna be a lot of fun.
I think it personally is kind of crazy that they're literally wiping everything in people's like inventory, including their like currency.
I'm really skeptical of it still, but I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt because like everyone I talk to who's like played Diablo in the past is like, no, it's great. You're actually gonna like it.
So I avidly played Diablo 3. I have a character for every season. I at least played a character every season so I could get all my armors. And the way they typically run these seasons is you get, obviously in this case, we're getting the the specific season mechanic for the corruption and things of that nature. When we look back to like Diablo 3, there were a lot of like you get a ton of treasure from every enemy and stuff like that, and they just like made it absolutely ludicrous, and it was a huge success in the way that it played, which I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with Diablo 4 in this case. There were a ton of big Twitch updates over the past week or so, and so we're going to kind of break those down for you. And to kind of start it all off, we love Zach Bussey. He's amazing. And
long live Bussey.
With they have some Twitch clip editor updates. So next month we're going to be able to directly export edited clips to TikTok, which is super exciting. We're getting a trim function, and we're also going to have those tools being made available to mobile devices, which means that when you're done streaming, you can hop in your car and not play on your phone, and then get somewhere and edit your clips remotely, so you don't have to go through all of that labor at your computer.
Can I have a super hot take about this?
Yes.
Absolutely.
People are still gonna bitch and moan that they can't get any viewers on TikTok when they post once a month.
That's fair, and I'm one of those people.
I just hate people who are like, "I'm a grinder, bro," and then I go on your TikTok, and I think I had this rant last week, but fuck it, we're doing it again. The amount of people who are like, "I'm a grinder, bro," and then I'm like, "Dog, you have 5 videos this year, and it's July."
By grinder, they just mean they're on Grinder. It's all right.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What did you think I meant?
Another piece of Twitch news is there's new stream events. So they recently rolled out the ability to do an affiliate or partner anniversary stream. They're also now adding in birthday and first stream anniversaries, which I'm super excited to see when my first stream anniversary is, because I know that it was way too long ago to be where I'm streaming at today.
Which rebrand was that? Was that 17 or 18?
Huh?
That was like 15 rebrands, I think.
That's right. 15 rebrands.
Well, how many months was it? I mean, it's just like 1 per month, right?
It's like 1 or 2 per month, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I personally think that them incorporating those anniversaries, because like there's only so many things you can do on Twitch with like an anniversary or like a birthday or something like that, and like showing off that you like your affiliate or partner anniversary is a great thing, but like think about like, hey, like thank you guys so much for coming to my community. Do you guys remember the first time I ever did a stream? Like for those of you who weren't here when that happened, like welcome to the community. I love to have you guys here. Like for all those who were here on my first stream, like let's reminisce and have like a little nostalgia blast. Like thank you guys so much for still supporting me after all this time. Like I think it's a great tool to like engage with your community.
I agree. I 100% agree with that. I think it's a great way for like communities also that have been established for a long time
100%.
to like be able to pull back to those like early days when like, you know, you had 1 or 2 viewers and now maybe you're in like a couple hundred. To be able to pull back to that, I think is going to be really cool for a lot of the new viewers to your channel.
Yeah, I'd say this is going to really heavily impact kind of those middle ground creators a lot more than the large creators. Like you were saying, in the hundreds, but even I'd say down to like if you got a consistent 20 viewers and it's people who are active in your community, it's a really good opportunity for your community as well to share that out, and I think get a bunch more people involved and potentially help grow your follow base too.
I agree.
I think Twitch kind of stole a page from TikTok's book on this, because if you notice, one of the TikTok trends is on this day, and a lot of content creators and strictly TikTok gamers will post clips from on this day. So like, you know, in the past year, they'll post like exactly what happened in the same exact clip. Like for example, Velian, he's one of my favorite like Tarkov like content creators. He's got great energy, like he's funny, like he makes great videos for Tarkov. He consistently posts on this day videos, and that makes me be like, oh dude, I remember last year I was, you know, sitting at work and I saw him post this video, or like I saw him do this live on stream, and it makes you want to go back and like engage with him more in his community.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're saying here is that Twitch has stolen this from Snapchat, who stole it from TikTok, who stole it from Instagram, who stole it from Facebook, who stole it from TimeHop.
Can I go on the record in saying that I'm all in for this?
Yeah, it's a great.
I think you should 100% steal. Like you should be bank robbers from other platforms.
It makes no sense not to. We've seen some great innovation come, especially when like Mixer hit the market to what Twitch was doing at the time.
Yeah.
Rolling
So-
out the bits features and integrating those outside the platform has been a huge asset to the Twitch community.
Well, one of my biggest things as a content creator is I like to use the comms method, which is COMS. It's credit once, mine second. So I credit who I took it from. If I take it from like someone, like a friend or someone else, I'd be like, hey, like I actually got this idea from, Pra. I saw him do it on his stream. I'm going to do it. And then the next time I use it, I'm going to be like, this is mine. Like, this is my idea. Right?
Yeah.
Like I credit where it came from, but then I say, hey, it's mine now because I'm going to be incorporating it quite as often as they do.
You know, I love the fact that you brought that up because I think that's a really good thing to utilize just kind of across the board when it comes to all kinds of content creation, whether you're on Twitter, whether you're on Threads, whether you're on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are. Giving credit where it's due is important, but you only have to stretch that limit so far.
Right, and like that's it. But and like the credit thing is like it's such a blurred line. Like you can say, hey, like you can lie and be like, oh, I came up with this idea, but then or like whatever. But like that, don't be a piece of shit at that point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you take something from someone that's an unoriginal idea that you got from someone else, give them the fucking credit because it was their original idea. Now, if you tweak a little bit, now it's your original idea. Or if you want to use it, give a credit to yourself afterwards, after you've already given your credit. Like, just give people the credit. Like, there's so many unoriginal thoughts nowadays that the original people do not get the credit. And it's just, as a content creator, just give the people the credit. It's not that hard,
Yeah, absolutely. Let's roll into another piece of Twitch news as we get ad chat timers, which I was so excited, Pra, when you shared this into our chat.
Yeah.
Being able in chat to have that pop up and show us how long we've got until that's happening. I'm hoping that we'll see that in like the OBS Twitch chat and things like that. I know they're just pop outs. But I think
you will.
I think as a creator, I don't look at the stream dashboard ever. So I never see when stuff is popping up. And so having things pop into my chat to see where those are coming from is a huge asset to me. And I'm super excited about that because it looks like you can also choose to play that immediately or push that back as well, which is another great win.
Yeah, I think especially for like battle royale streamers and like people who are playing very intense like FPS games, if you can like push if you're in like a top 5 situation or something and like your game's gonna end in like 2 minutes, like snoozing that ad so your community doesn't get hit with an ad like in like top 2, like
100%.
the sweatiest gunfight of like your entire stream.
Right, 100%.
Yeah, I'm leaving if you don't snooze that ad.
Yeah.
Well, like, and like a thing is like, hopefully with this ad scheduler, like that allows mods to also delay the ads as well. So like that, like, like from what I understand, it's only just the streamer himself, him or herself, can do it. Like, but on top of that, giving mods the ability to do it as well. Because like, if you're in a top 5 and it's the sweatiest fucking gunfight of your life, like you can't pull over and be like, hey, give me a second. Let me fucking do this really quick. You need your mod to like kind of take control and be like, hey, like delay this. Like your mod needs to be on it and be like, hey, delay this for me. You know what I'm saying?
I would assume this is something mods could do. Like I feel like that would make sense.
I'm gonna intentionally pull over at the end of a battle royale in Call of Duty and do that.
Top 2, hold on. I
with.
gotta snooze my ads. We'll be right back.
Hold on,
like,
guys.
Hey, I know you're. I know you're.
You over on that
that
high ground. Hold on a minute. I gotta snooze an ad.
Like gets our proc chat. Hey guys, I gotta snooze an ad. Like,
I'll be hiding in this red building with a green door. Don't come in here. I'm snoozing my Twitch ads.
I think rolling into that next piece as well is another great moderation tool is shared mod comments. Another incredibly fantastic thing is the ability to just because you can currently share your ban info with other streamers, being able to also share the comments you have associated with that with those other streamers. I think will really help each streamer tailor those ban lists to their own liking, and help kind of curate because there might be something in Pra's stream that affects Pra that doesn't necessarily affect me, and I'm leaning more into like someone makes a joke about parents or something, and that's a hard topic for you. It might be a different topic for someone else.
Yeah.
So
different people, different things.
There's a lot of opportunity to kind of curate that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then also Twitch's new kind of TikTok competitive portion is the Twitch Stories, which is going to be a mobile experience where you can share clips, pictures, text updates, and polls with your followers or subs. And that content disappears after 24 hours, which I guess is kind of a leading attack on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I don't know. Actually, I don't think Twitter has like a stories feature, but Snapchat. There's a ton of platforms that do stories now. It's hard to kind of keep track of those. That feature is coming in October, with that shared mod coming in September as well.
I think personally, the Twitch stories like beta is going to flop because of the fact that Twitch has such a strict TOS compared to other platforms. As soon as one thing gets posted and it violates the TOS in any shape, form, or fashion, that entire account's gone. And I think it's going to end a lot of up and coming streamers or big streamers' careers with it.
I would also lean into the fact that I think the likelihood of this flopping, I would say, is pretty high because they're so late to the game on top of it. Instagram launched stories on their platform in 2016.
Right.
Facebook, I believe, in 2017. TikTok
Snapchat was 2019, like
right away. So we've got all these different platforms that have rolled this feature out. They've got years that they've been working on it. TikTok works entirely in almost a stories format in the first place. And so trying to compete, while it's really cool that they're doing it, and it's really cool that you can use your on-premise content and kind of re-engage your followers, not just in your live streams or in your pre-recorded, but also now in this format. I think they're kind of jumping the gun on this one and not really thinking it through, because they basically created a Twitter experience that only lasts for 24 hours.
Yeah, I think this is going to flop for a totally different reason. No one's going to use it. Like, honestly, who is going to, like, think about it like this. When's the last time you were worrying about what a Twitch streamer was posting on their Twitch channel?
But not like I go to streamers' socials. Like I go to their to Twitter,
like you go to Twitter,
TikTok,
you go to Instagram.
Yeah, that's where I go. Like I don't give a.
I just don't think anyone's going to use this outside of like big stream tomorrow or like come check out my hashtag ad. Like I think that's the only really real use for it. And I mean, hopefully I'm wrong. Like Twitch, please prove me wrong. Like I would actively love that.
I think it only benefits established partners, like established active partners. I think that's it.
Yeah, there's nothing. Go ahead.
The up and coming streamer, the up and coming like content creator is going to get no benefit from it.
Yeah,
it's not going to have any benefit at all. They're not going to be able to grow from it. Like, and then it's just gonna be another layer of discouragement on that path to growth.
I'd say to layer that, it being limited to 24 hours is a huge loss on Twitch's part. I know video storage is crazy expensive, but they have access to AWS and like specialty pricing, I'm sure.
They also have billions of dollars.
Are you saying that Twitch is owned by Amazon and Amazon's a big company with its own web servers?
Well, okay, so the way AWS actually works, let me school you guys a little bit, is Amazon sells their server platforms within the AWS cloud to use for video storage. So as a company, you can buy those and do that kind of stuff. Yes. So it's not owned by Amazon, kind of.
So one of my favorite parts to this whole thing, and it leads kind of into the thing that's listed right after this, is Twitch is launching a mobile-based discovery experience on top of all of that. So not only are those clips only going to last 24 hours, there's a discovery feed so that people can't find your videos.
I think this is different than the stories, though.
It is different, because I'm sure what the way the stories are probably going to work is you're going to tap on a banner icon or the profile picture, and it's going to pop up for you, and you're going to be able to kind of go through what they posted in the past 24 hours, which is going to be nothing for 90% of content creators. The mobile-based clip discovery experience is anything that's been clipped in your stream from the sounds of it, not your edited content, which I'm struggling to wrap my head around this. It looks like you're also going to be able to do mark featured clips from things that are clipped as well.
I like this one a
fall
lot more.
launch.
I think this is a much better feature than the stories. I think stories, I just don't see them doing very well because I feel like also most people's smallest following is on Twitch. As far as like active engaging in their community, like I feel like most people just have bigger presences on like TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Discord.
And that's where you get all those engagements too. I mean, you don't engagement
Yeah.
farm Twitch for the reason of it's Twitch.
Yeah, for sure. I think this could be good for getting more of a follower base and getting more exposure.
Yeah,
But
I think there's opportunity there in that TikTok format, but I think it's going to be very limited.
Yeah.
I on the backside, like to flip the coin, like you already have TikTok, you already have Instagram, you already have YouTube. Like it feels like Twitch is literally just trying to become YouTube. Like YouTube has streaming, YouTube has long form content, YouTube has shorts, it has all these functions already. It feels like Twitch is literally just trying to mimic on the least growth platform that you have.
Yeah, I think to tack that on as well, when we look at how YouTube has launched some of those as well, a lot of those extra features YouTube has don't really work that well either. Like when we're talking about like YouTube Shorts, bigger content creators have an easier time pushing shorts.
100%. I mean, yeah,
Um,
like 100% because they already
and
have the base.
the thing I'm kind of curious about is, are they going to approach this featured clips and the mobile discovery experience as a TikTok format where things just pop up, it's recommended algorithm, or are they going to kind of make it a timeline where anytime someone posts, it just pops up in a giant feed, or like the I think we don't have enough information, obviously, to speak too much into it. But I do look forward to seeing the experiments coming. I do hope that it is a functional, great feature for smaller creators. I'd love to see the opportunity for those creators to grow and have a space there.
Yeah.
Stepping into the next piece of this is Twitch is doing an open beta access to Stream Together Live, which they're calling Crossover, or I believe it's being called Stream Together Live. It's a function of Guest Star allowing two live channels to stream with each other, which is basically, from the way that I read and the way that it sounds, the fancy feature that partners had access to forever ago, where you could literally just squad stream. So it doesn't seem like it's any different, but this time only two people instead of four.
So are partners still allowed to do the 4 because they're partners, or is it they get bumped down to 2?
I believe partners still have access to the squad streaming.
Okay.
I would have to double check on that. But to my knowledge, they'll still have the same feature they already had. This is just a new feature that's being rolled out. That way you can kind of stream together with guests on your own channel. And it looks like it'll save that content as well from both of those channels. So that's kind of nice to have in there.
I think it's a good tool. I think it could really help out. Say like like for example, Plague, right? Plague is a Twitch partner. Like say he wants to feature one of us for like the week because we're all playing a game with him. Having him expose us to his community as well, and then seeing our kind of content, like live form content, with that guest star, like it could really help us get exposure. Like, or you can just have a good time with your friends, or do a collab that's not like a pain in the ass to like take care of. I think it could overall be a good tool.
Yeah, I do believe that those squad streams were limited exclusively to Twitch partners. Like you couldn't be invited as an affiliate.
Yeah.
So
everyone in the squad stream has to be a partner.
That's a huge letdown on Twitch's end for that, in my opinion, because I think a partner should be able to initiate it. I think that would still be fair. I think this kind of starts bridging that gap for affiliates, and I am looking forward to seeing where they go with it. I know only 2 channels being live is kind of limiting. I know we all talked, or at least Pra and I briefly talked about utilizing this for the podcast, and then realized, well, if we can only do 2 people, that's kind of not helpful.
I could see them expanding this once it rolls out and they see what the impact is on like their own servers.
Absolutely.
I 100% could see this. I think this is them trying to get rid of squad streaming and putting in something better.
Yeah, and I hope it is better. I'd love to see Twitch innovate in an area where they're already doing well. I mean, Squad Stream looks great. You can see what they're doing with Call of Duty and the big events that they host, being able to just swap between players and different views. Like there's a ton of different ways to engage with that content because of I believe it was called COD HQ or something like that. It's just a one button press or
Yeah.
the command center. That's what it was. And being able to jump into that and switch to different views, huge win.
100%.
I agree.
And kind of the final thing to wrap up the Twitch discussion today is that Stream Elements is launching its new activity feed. This doesn't affect everybody, but those of you who are using Stream Elements for your activity feed, it's going to add clickable account thumbnails, mark as read, clearer text, better customization of what you see, like color selection and things like that. So you're going to have a little bit more control over what your activity feed looks like on your end, which will make your experience a little easier, because if I see the random color that they assigned a follow, I'm not going to recognize that as easily as something I picked myself.
Yeah.
I don't use Stream Elements, so I can't really talk about it.
I use Stream Elements. I don't really use their activity feed. I just use my Twitch activity feed.
Yeah, I'm a Twitch activity feed guy too.
I mean, yeah, same here.
I don't know
It seems
anyone
like
who uses the Stream Elements activity feed like exclusively.
people who get duped into using it.
Yeah, I guess like I don't know if you really just like their overlay more.
It now just looks like the Twitch activity feed, but you choose the colors, and now you can engage with that feed, which doesn't really help anyone who streams fast-paced games,
Yeah.
or if they're doing like playthroughs. None of that's really going to help here. I think it really helps a lot more with those just chatting streamers, people who are just kind of sitting there and chatting for a little while before they go to games. Basically pra for the first 20 minutes every night. And that's really where I see that doing the best.
Yeah. I think like overall, all these changes are all really good. I think it's good to see Twitch actually doing things and not just like we're Twitch and we don't have to do anything. So like even though a lot of it is copycat stuff, like I'm fine with that. Like if it works on someone else's platform and you think it can work on yours, why wouldn't you take it? Like 100%. To not do it just seems like an idiotic thing.
Yeah, I think it's also nice to see them finally. I feel like this has a lot to do with Clancy stepping in as well and actively being there. I know that it felt like the previous CEO, I believe, didn't really push for much innovation. It was a very stay the ground kind of situation, and now I mean, we're hearing a lot of we're getting a lot of live streams and things like that where they're actively engaging with the community. And I think this is kind of that first show of, hey, we're listening to you, we're listening to the features that you want, whether or not it's from another platform or not, and we're going to implement the tools that you need to succeed. And I'm hoping that they continue to take steps like this, because this is a huge list of updates for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it covers months of updates. I mean, we're seeing September, we got this month, we got next month. Like there's so many things rolling out. And so I think we're in for a good couple of months of updates from Twitch, as long as these things roll out nicely.
If you're on Twitch, I know all the people are on Kick now.
What's Kick?
What's Kick? Yeah, I don't know.
I'm only on Trovo.
Shut the fuck up.
Mixer.
A Mixer.
I'm on Facebook Gaming now. Defunct.
Oh my god, not anymore. I'm actually also like just sticking with the TwitchCon thing for a second. I think I'm actually really excited to see what they do in the Vegas TwitchCon, because all this came out at TwitchCon Paris. So when we have the one in Las Vegas at the end of October, I'm actually really excited to see what they do.
Yeah, I mean, we usually get some of the biggest announcements in
I feel like
that's the one US hosted.
Which like might be like the American in me, like just assuming the one in America is bigger. But I don't know, I feel like it usually is.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
What's in Vegas though? That's not Texas. it'll just be shinier.
More lights, more pizzazz.
More pizzazz. Dan Clancy's gonna have fucking Christmas lights in his hair.
I almost called him Tom Clancy.
Tom Clancy? What? He owns Twitch? No way!
The new CEO of Twitch, Tom Clancy.
Oh, how old is
Guess
he?
what, guys? Everything's gonna be flooded with Ghost Recon.
I'm going to kick.
Oh, Tom Clancy died 10 years
It's just
ago.
Rainbow Six Siege everywhere. We're all leaving.
As soon as you stream Rainbow Six Siege, you just like get on the featured page every single fucking day.
You go from 1 viewer to 50,000 instantly just by playing a Tom Clancy game.
You just like gives you bot viewers.
I'd be a full-time Rainbow Six Vegas 2 streamer.
It's just Tom Clancy 1, Tom Clancy 2, Tom Clancy 3.
Tom Clancy 50,000.
All right, let's get back to this.
All right, back to the same. All right, so today's big juicy news, as we like to say, juicy news. All right, so today, what's up?
Nothing. You can keep going.
So the big piece that everyone has kind of been focused on is Microsoft is acquiring Activision and Blizzard, right? So like that's like the big news that everyone's kind of been following over the past few days. Everyone is aware though that the FTC or the Federal Trade Commission and the CMA over in the UK put in like a huge injunction to kind of like stop this merger because they feel like it's going to like lessen the competition, right? It's going to create a monopoly, which in America monopolies are illegal. So but they happen all the time. Not saying that, but they happen all the time. So the FTC actually got overruled today. A judge in California pretty much said, hey, Microsoft, you're allowed to close this acquisition. Like, you're allowed to go through it. It took 5 long days, but they pretty much denied the FTC's preliminary injunction, and they're allowing Microsoft to move forward with their big acquisition of Activision. And Microsoft is going to be following through on a lot of promises, hopefully with this big acquisition. The only thing they're waiting on is going to be the CMA side of it in the UK. So with this being said, Microsoft has committed in writing to the public that they are going to be keeping Call of Duty on PlayStation for at least 10 years. Same with Xbox. They're going to be keeping it on both platforms. So like that is like a for sure thing. They agreed with Nintendo to bring Call of Duty to Switch, which opens up an entire new platform for gamers. So traditionally we know the Switch to be like associated with games like Pokemon, like Zelda, Stardew Valley, Animal Kingdom, like all those kinds of games are just like kind of like easygoing games, portable wherever you want to go. I realize that like now they're starting to release like Elden Ring on Switch. That's a big one that like released on the Switch. You got the Witcher series, so they're starting to release RPGs and more like mature content. But having Call of Duty with such a big title onto the Switch is gonna be like a huge deal. It's also being brought to like several cloud gaming services, and that's kind of where the FTC was like drawing the line. They were like, hey, if you bring all of this to the cloud services, it's going to be creating this monopoly and getting rid of the competition.
I think an important thing to notate with that as well is that the FTC does have an opportunity to appeal. They have not typically appealed in the past on deals like this. And there is one other lawsuit from the FTC in terms of anti-competition against Microsoft about this deal. So there's still a few steps that they have to go through before they can actively close this acquisition.
Right.
Especially looking to the 18th, I believe, is the technical close date, which is just a week away from us in recording right now. With that closing out as well, we also see that UK regulators at the CMA have agreed with Microsoft to kind of pause their legal battle and try to negotiate outside of court to find an agreement that allows Microsoft to close the acquisition and UK regulators to allow that acquisition to happen in the UK. So obviously there's a lot of public interest in this case because people who want Call of Duty on Game Pass really want this acquisition to close. And everyone in my Facebook group that really doesn't like Sony or Microsoft does not want it to close.
Right. So like, but like a big deal with this is obviously the FTC is worried about the cloud gaming services. That's like they don't really care about anything else. It's more of the cloud gaming services because Microsoft does have a large cornerstone on the cloud gaming services. You can log on to Game Pass and you'll see that 95% of the games on there, you can literally go on there and be like, oh, I don't want to put this on my actual hard drive. I'm just going to play it. And if I don't like it, I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? Don't have to take up space, don't have to take up time, done, move on, right? Sony doesn't really have that capability. They have their PlayStation Now like functionality, but you still have to put it onto your thing. You still have to have an internet connection to download it to your platform. You still have to have all the space. Over time, like it takes up way too much space on that. And so like their cloud system hasn't taken off as well as Microsoft. So for Microsoft being able to pretty much take over Activision, which is already like a very large company, they're going to be putting big name titles like Modern Warfare 2. Whenever a Modern Warfare game releases, they're going to put it on there. They got Diablo 4 can be on there for Game Pass, you know? Like you're going to have all these big name titles, and pretty much all the other cloud gaming services are just going to be going away because everyone's going to want to play on Game Pass.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of questions kind of around what this looks like in the console market. I mean, I'll be realistic in saying that if this deal really goes through, we can pretty much assume that any future acquisition by any other gaming company will just go through at this point. I mean, it's the second largest tech acquisition in history following AOL. Which is just insane to wrap my head around. The numbers we're dealing with here are just insanely large. I mean, I think Microsoft only did in the gaming revenue side 16.3 billion in 2022, and they're spending $69 billion in this acquisition. So we're seeing like this crazy increase. Though to also recognize, Activision Blizzard, I believe, is the largest games publisher on the planet in terms of sales. They landed, I think, almost 8 billion last year in sales. And I
for
think
a small indie company, that's great.
I love that wraparound. I mean, I think when we listen to what Microsoft was saying as well in a lot of the trials, they aren't as concerned about getting Call of Duty as they are King Entertainment, because the revenue from the King side is so far ahead of every other game on the market, whether people want to pretend to or not. I mean, King probably carries a couple $2 billion in revenue for Activision, and the rest kind of falls to every other franchise they own. This will also, if they close the deal, put a bunch of old PlayStation franchises into Microsoft's hands.
Exactly.
Like Crash Bandicoot.
That was my next point. Like seriously. So essentially it is going to create a monopoly for Microsoft. They're gonna have almost like total control of every aspect of the gaming industry once if this merger goes through.
I would lean that specifically to the console market, though. They'll own a huge chunk of the mobile market as well with this. I won't pretend. I mean, you've got Warzone Mobile, you've got Call of Duty Mobile, you've got everything King has released. You have all of the stuff from, like, they've got Warcraft Arclight coming out, which I'm sure is going to do really well.
Right.
And so there's a ton of IPs under this that are really questionable. I believe the CMA actually, they said specifically regarding their decision to kind of re-question this deal, they're ready to consider any proposals from Microsoft to restructure the transaction in a way that address the concerns that they set out in their final report. So we'll have to see how Microsoft can approach justice and fairness in the CMA's eyes and the FTC's eyes as we continue to go forward. I mean, realistically speaking, even if the UK wants to block it and the FTC approves it, or vice versa, they can still close the deal. They just have to operate as two separate companies in that individual country.
Right.
And I think that's important to note as well, because most of the world, except for actually the entire world, other than the CMA and the FTC, has so far approved this deal. I don't think we're waiting on anyone else but those two. So Microsoft can already operate ABK in Microsoft out in some of those countries as soon as that deal closes.
Right.
But I do believe they are waiting for regulators to finalize the deal in those countries.
So the big thing is, like, the European regulators already gave the go-ahead back in May for Microsoft and Activision to kind of like push forward with the deal. So technically, Microsoft could close in the UK without waiting for a CMA like decision, based off them already kind of giving the go-ahead. However, they're being cautionary with it and saying, hey, like we want your kind of blessing before we go ahead and do this, because we know that this is like a very large merger for the industry, and it's going to change everything, you know, like, so I think it's good on Microsoft to kind of like get that blessing from the CMA. Like they could have just kind of like strong armed it and been like, hey, like the FTC signed off and said, hey, we're you know, we got denied, so we're going to push through with our merger. Hey, like go fuck yourselves. We're just going to go ahead and push through the UK. Pretty much like that. They technically could do that and not get in trouble with the CMA. You know what I'm saying? Because the regulators already gave the go ahead in Europe. They're like, hey, you know what? In May, like we said, it was cool. I'm on board with it. We think it's great for the industry. And now the CMA is giving a little bit of pushback. And that's why the CMA is kind of like pulling it out of court and is like, hey, let's go ahead and like negotiate this together outside of a courtroom, because we already do have this okay over here. We just need to finalize the details of what it's going to look like.
Yeah. So, and I'm looking at a kind of a list of like the top gaming companies and what their revenue was last year in comparison to this year so far. And from the numbers currently, if Microsoft actually does the full acquisition, acquires 100% of ABK, they will actually be revenue-wise almost matching what Sony did in 2022 for 2023 projections. So I can understand why Sony's kind of pushing back on this, and why a lot of regulators kind of had a lot of questions regarding this, because we're not just talking about a company going from one position to the next. I mean, if Microsoft decided to pull Call of Duty, I think there was a survey that went out that showed an estimated 30% of people would consider just dropping their PlayStations in favor of Xbox consoles, which would be huge detriment to Sony's gaming console.
That's like the thing is, like, if Microsoft takes over, especially with Call of Duty, like, are we still going to offer Call of Duty on PlayStation? Like, is Microsoft still going to offer it on PlayStation, or are they going to completely take it from Sony and say, hey, bye PlayStation, if you want to play this big name title, you got to get on Xbox?
Yeah, I mean, that's something,
you got to get on PC, you know what I'm saying?
That is something we've seen, not Microsoft in particular in this space, but we've seen a lot of companies pass FTCs or the FTC agreements, and they'll segment a certain part of their business and say, we promise to do XYZ with it, or we'll pay X amount of dollars in a fine to the FTC. And technically speaking, if Microsoft really wanted to, they could try to cut a deal with the FTC where if they break it, they have to pay a boatload of money, and it would be their choice to just pull it and pay the fine if they want to. Companies do it all the time, and I'm sure that it's a big question for them in that space, and it wouldn't shock me why Sony would be so intense about it right now.
Well, you also have to think about it this way too. So, like, obviously, you have 3 different major areas of gaming. You have console, you have PC, and you have mobile, right? Out of those 3 areas, right? If you break it down even more, with console, you got Xbox and PlayStation, right? Then you got PC, right? You got Apple, and you got Windows, right? Those are the 2 major OSs that everyone uses: Mac OS and Windows OS. And guess who owns both? Microsoft. At the end of the day, I know Apple is like its own conglomerate, but yes, Microsoft has a cornerstone piece of Apple. Like that is everyone knows that. But then you have your mobile gaming, right? So that's on the market. But if you look at all that with the console and the PC, Sony has this tiny piece of the puzzle, and it's PlayStation. As soon as PlayStation is cut out, Microsoft has this gigantic monopoly over all the competition. They have the operating system. They when it comes to PC gaming, they already have Xbox. Like if you buy a brand new PC and Windows 11 comes on it, guess what's also on it? Xbox. You already have Game Pass set up. Microsoft literally offers you 3 free months when you buy a new PC for Game Pass. Sony doesn't have that capability because they don't have any cloud gaming services to be able to do so. So this is like this honestly could be the end of Sony if this goes through.
I think looking forwards, I think Sony's best move from here is to purchase one of the cloud gaming services that Microsoft is creating a contract with. Mm-hmm. That builds them into a really good. There's actually one company who doesn't have their own public-facing service, but Microsoft signed an agreement with them to offer it to any of their clients. So in that regard, I think that there's value in Sony approaching them for a buyout. I think it would be a really great way for Sony to keep up. I think the one thing that I think is really interesting is Microsoft wanting to put Call of Duty on Nintendo products.
I think
Specific,
that's great.
I imagine it's going to roll out like cloud gaming did, and kind of target that approach to getting it on system. I know those screens are typically, I believe the Nintendo Switch was like a 720p screen. But I think streaming that is probably the best solution, similar to what the Stream Deck has going on, or the Steam Deck has going on. And I know there's a whole bunch of others that I can't recall off the top of my head, but
Here's
the main.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say the main competitor to the Game Pass streaming service is Amazon Luna, and that has a really low adoption rate. We just saw Google just shut down their game streaming service, though they are rolling out a kind of streamed gameplay service through YouTube. So I'm curious to see how that approach comes as well.
Do some research on that because I don't know about that. All I'm saying is like, I think what Microsoft is going to do is they're not going to offer like if this merger goes through and they push Call of Duty to Nintendo devices, I don't think they're going to do the actual game. I think they're going to do a mobile version.
I think that's actually really fair, is putting like Warzone mobile and stuff like that on the Nintendo Switch.
Right, 100%. Like,
I mean,
you're still giving the same feel of Warzone, but it's Warzone mobile is already optimized for like a lesser powered device, like a console or a PC.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at how kind of Nintendo tends to operate, all the Switches are using essentially the same hardware. So it's not necessarily a big change to. I mean, it'd still be a lot of work, but it's not this crazy thing to consider that they might redevelop it for that as well and roll that out within the next year or two.
You're not taking like a big AAA title that's designed for console and PC and like that 1080p, 1440p like gaming style, and then trying to condense it all onto a 720p low processor platform, which is what a mobile device is. You already have the base game with Warzone Mobile. Just take that and turn it into something that's compatible for a Switch, and you'll make money hand over fist. You put that thing on the market, and you're like, hey, we got Warzone for Nintendo Switch, advertising it as Warzone Mobile, but for a Switch, and you discount a half rate, right? And label it as a Call of Duty game, they're gonna make money fucking hand over fist. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna be honest, I would love to see them hit the free-to-play market on the Nintendo Switch. Because while I'm gonna be honest, I play Call of Duty mobile, and I'm looking forward to Warzone mobile as well. I think I would really love to see this hit the Nintendo Switch through that streamed format, or even downloaded with Warzone mobile and things like that, and being able to play those on the go on a console instead of on my phone. Because I'm gonna be honest, I like my phone battery.
I mean, yeah, no, like, and that's like the issue. Prod, do you have any like thoughts on all this? You've been kind of quiet over there.
I'm just kind of letting y'all riff right now. I'm gonna be honest. I think that I don't know. I think a lot of the impacts that this deal will have, we're not gonna see until like 2030.
Yeah, I mean, the long-term question is, where does Call of Duty end up? I mean, we don't know if it's got another decade in it. I mean, I'm sure it does. It's very successful for a reason. It's because they have one formula and they stick to it, and they do a really good job at it. Whether we want to pretend Call of Duty is bad or not, they do a good job of executing the exact same thing over and over.
I just hope we'll get more Kevin Durant skins. That's really all I hope this deal. We need more Kevin Durant skins.
I want to run around as A-Train.
Actually, that'd be kind of dope. Or like Homelander, you could fly too.
Homelander's coming to the game, actually, as of tomorrow. We got Homelander, Starlight, and Black Noir are all hitting for July 12th. And they're doing Temp V as the event.
Guess who is still not playing Call of Duty? This guy.
That guy. I will be on tomorrow having a good time.
So
are you sure? Are you going to try? Like,
I don't know if I'll be on. We'll see.
You're not going to be on. He's not going to be on.
No, probably not. He'll be scuba diving.
So
anyways,
don't forget your mask.
Don't forget your mask. That's facts. So like the big kind of like wrap it up. So like Microsoft with this merger, like Pra said, like we're not going to see the effects until 2030, like at probably the earliest. However, with that being said, like you already have big name companies who partner with the Microsoft Cloud gaming service. Like Bethesda is a big one, right? Everyone knows Bethesda. Like you say the word Skyrim, everyone knows it's fucking Bethesda, right? Skyrim's like a lasting title. You say Fallout 4, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Bethesda. Like everyone knows those games, even if they're like a very casual game. So
Don't
it's
you
like,
mean Bethesda, the Microsoft company?
shut the fuck up.
They're an indie company, okay? Like there hasn't been a new Elder Scrolls game in like 20 years, so like you know what I mean? Like they're really hurting for money.
Right.
It's
like,
coming, okay?
I'm hoping we can get another
like,
Skyrim like remaster. I think that's really what we're missing.
So, right. So like I get it. Like they are a little bit stagnant sometimes, but they are, they're working on Starfield. That's like their big project coming up, which I'm super excited for. I know a lot of people are excited for. But to bring it back, like Bethesda was the first like big name like gaming company to partner with Microsoft and release their games free to play on Game Pass. Obviously for a small fee, but like you don't have to pay the full price and then be disappointed on the game. Like you could pay the $9 a month, play a game, be like, you know what, this isn't really for me. Let me try some of their other work, because they have more games outside of that. They have like the Dishonored series, they have like Doom, they have like all that kind of stuff. So it's like they're like the first ones to kind of make that jump over. And with this merger coming in, I'm curious to see how many more companies decide to either stop being like a singular entity and move over, or see if they can make their way with like say Sony or like Amazon Luna coming up, like those kind of things. And if that's like where it's all going to end up, you know what I'm saying? And we won't see that like process until probably like later in the decade. But that's like kind of like the big like where is everyone going to end up? Is Microsoft going to just end up like absorbing everybody and being like, you know what, fuck it, like we're putting all these games on here, like we're putting all these companies in here, we're going to make this gigantic catalog of cloud-based games that everyone can play. Like next thing you know, Game Pass goes from 150 games a month to now they have thousands because they have this gigantic catalog. That's going to create that monopoly that the FTC is kind of like trying to avoid.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. That is it's a concerning space, but I think it's important to see where it goes. I think that's really the biggest question on it. And that is everything that we have for you all today. Thank you so much for listening through this whole thing. Can't believe you're still here. We appreciate it so much. Make sure to give this podcast a rating on your platform of choice. We greatly appreciate it. And if you can make sure to subscribe to us, have a great weekend.